Let's quickly compare and contrast TurboTax and H&R Block. Obviously, those are some of the two giants in this industry. And so I want to first start with the pros and cons. And I'm going to start with the pros and cons of TurboTax. So when you think about TurboTax, what are the pros? You have the options to file your own taxes or get remote help from a professional. You have an intuitive interface and good import options for tax forms. You have features to get limited online help or have someone else do your entire tax return. You have an easy to use platform with helpful interview style questions that make it really easy to file taxes. You have excellent customer service by phone, email, or chat. You can upload your W-2 or 1099 to fill out fields automatically. You also have what we love within TurboTax. You have a donation calculator. So the TurboTax It's Deductible app helps you calculate the value of items donated to charity. And overall, when it comes to UX and UI, TurboTax is really good. So it's ease of use, fantastic. So the software makes tax filing easy by walking you through the process with interview style questions and lots of plain language definitions and explanations. What about the cons here? Well, TurboTax, for all intents and purposes, in our view, I want to assist, this is our view, is more expensive for most tax preparation options. No in-person help is available. Extremely limited free filing options. And this is basically one of the most expensive DIY tax software options on the market right now, in our view. And tax expert, I should really specify that tax expert assistance is available, but for an additional cost. And TurboTax will try to upsell you the most compared to its competitors. So this lack of pricing transparency is a really sort of disconcerting in our view. So if you are unfamiliar with all of the tax forms, let's say deductions and credits that apply to your tax situation, it can be really tough to know which version of TurboTax you need, right? And so because the whole thing is, the last thing you want to have is to go through the entire tax prep process only to find that you don't qualify for the free or lower price version of the software, and therefore you must pay a hefty fee to file. When you really think about it, this can mean wasted time if you decide you want to find a cheaper alternative. And so it's one of those things where you have to really be aware of, but the upselling is just massive on TurboTax, to really massive. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Let's talk about the H&R Block. So we're talking about the pros and cons of this player also. I want to first start with the pros. So you can file your taxes using online desktop software or in person. You have the option to upgrade to in-person support to drop off your taxes. And so H&R Block is slightly lower in cost than TurboTax for most filers. There is the no surprise guarantee. So H&R Block tries to avoid surprise fees with its no surprise guarantee. So what happens here is that if the company doesn't deliver, let's say, doesn't deliver upfront transparent pricing and explain any price changes during the process, you receive a coupon for 20% off next year's tax preparation from H&R Block. You also have the option for in-person help. So this is really good. So let's say you get stuck preparing your tax return and decide to, or let's say you decide to turn things over to a professional. You are not limited to working with someone online. I think you can work with a tax pro virtually through an appointment at an HR Block office or by dropping off your tax documents at one of the offices. And fees for filing with an H&R Block tax pro starts at about $85, plus an additional fee for a state tax return. So those are the pros. What about the cons here? Well, the whole thing can be pricey. So filing your taxes through H&R Block can be pricey. So while H&R Block is cheaper than TurboTax, it is more expensive than other DIY tax filing options, such as TaxSlayer, TaxAct, and that's if you don't qualify for the free option. So paying $49 per state can add up quickly if you need to file a return in more than one state, and add-ons like online assistance or wanting your fees paid directly from your refund can drive the cost higher. And also, H&R Block is slightly less user-friendly for online filing, and you have limited integration support for banks and investments. So those are one of those things you have to really think about. But H&R Block stands out for its large network of branches. We're speaking here about brick and mortar branches. with 10,000 locations and 60,000 employees around the world. It also comes with a slightly better set of options for free filing, which may be a draw depending on your needs. So the software experience is very similar to TurboTax, but only H&R Block gives you the choice to drive over to see someone in person for help filing your taxes. You can choose to drop off your tax papers and have H&R Block handle just about everything else for you with its traditional full-service tax offering. And so when we think about H&R Block, we love the fact that they do a decent job handling the forms you upload, but they do have a limited set of connections with outside banks, investment firms, and cryptocurrency exchanges for data import. So they need to work on that. So if you have many forms to enter, it will take you a little longer with H&R Block, but at a lower price and with similar features, it could still be a good choice for your needs. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TurboTax versus H&R Block. We're doing a compare and contrast for about those two giants. So, which is more affordable, TurboTax or H&R Block? I think you have the answer already. I've said this before. So, the most obvious difference between TurboTax and H&R Block is price. So, both offer 4 federal and state versions that support similar tax topics. H&R Block costs less overall and offers more options, online, in person, and virtual for tax preparation. Remember that TurboTax doesn't have a constellation of brick and mortar branches across the country. Okay, so when we talk about free, let's first talk about free versions. Free versions. So H&R Block's free version covers W-2 income, earned income tax credits, or EITC. You have the CTC, the child tax credits. You have student expenses like tuition and loan interest. You have unemployment. You have a retirement income. You have limited interest and dividend income. So that's for the free version of H&R Block. What about TurboTax? So TurboTax free edition covers you have W-2 income, you have EITC, you have the CTC, the student loan interest deduction, and the limited interest and dividend income. So you can see that they're pretty similar. In terms of the deluxe, basically this is where you have the H&R Block Deluxe is costing you about $92 to $100, and the TurboTax Deluxe will cost you about $100 to $125. What about the Premium or Premier? So if you need to report on investments, including crypto sales or rental properties, you need the Premium or Premier version of either service. And H&R Block Premium actually will cost you $112 to $125. And the TurboTax Premier will cost you somewhere from $130 to $160. What about self-employed? Now, self-employed individuals who need to file Schedule C have to go for the most expensive versions of both. So H&R Block self-employed is about $110 for federal returns and $37 per state. And TurboTax self-employed is more expensive. It will cost you somewhere from $119 for federal and $54 for state returns. Okay, so you can see the gap. You can see the delta here is pretty yawning. Okay, and one thing I want to say here is that you have to really ask yourself which really is better for you. So when it comes to affordability, H&R Block is the winner here. Now let's talk about which sites had a better user experience here. So the thing here is that when we talk about better user experience, we're speaking about UX and UI. So we are thinking about a few things, a few questions. Is everything there when you need it? Does your tax preparation journey feel like a cohesive process? Do you ever hit dead ends? Do you always have a sense of where you are? How long does it take to move to a page in another section of the site? Does everything work the way it's supposed to? Those are questions that we actually grapple with as we actually think about the best. So in terms of personality, so when you analyze a website, TurboTax or H&R Block, we'll look at the personality and we look at the user interface. So let's first talk about the personality. So each website has a distinct personality, whether it is a tax preparation software, a tax preparation website, or just a regular website. So which one is really better? Which personality is better depends on how closely they match your personality. So TurboTax tries to be a little more conversant, and its language is more casual and understandable. In other words, it is not quite so filled with IRS jargon. It does a better job of introducing the various topic areas and providing an ending for individual sections. So TurboTax is really designed to make you feel like you are having a long conversation instead of just going through a series of data entry pages. H&R Block feels more matter of fact. So its tone is friendly without bordering on clawing. So TurboTax is sometimes guilty of this. And basically, it has H&R Block has one major thing going forward. Pages will load faster. So from a user experience point of view, this is important. So what about user interface, the UI? So the site's UI are different too, though they employ similar navigation schemes. I'm talking here about H&R Block versus TurboTax. So TurboTax tends to basically sprawl across the page and opens new pages slower overall than H&R Block. So it's one of those things where you have to really be sort of conversant about that. So TurboTax actually flows more easily and transparently from one topic to the next, and can sometimes help you forget that you are doing your income taxes with all the pain that usually implies. So H&R Block is more compact, and its pages look more official forms than state-of-the-art web pages, though they are still visually appealing. So both display readable fonts and occasional graphics. H&R Block also provides good navigation cues. Its user experience is excellent, but TurboTax is more aesthetically pleasing. So in fact, TurboTax's user experience is superior to every other finance-related website we have actually reviewed. So the winner here, in our view, is TurboTax. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TurboTax versus H&R Block. Now let's talk about walkthroughs. So when you analyze TurboTax versus H&R Block, which sites has better walkthroughs? The thing is that TurboTax and H&R Block actually have wonderful walkthroughs. They both provide a complete start-to-finish experience. They walk you through a Form 1040, for instance, and it's a constellation of forms and schedules, asking questions and moving your answers to the IRS forms without you ever having to see them. You just click navigation icons to advance or go back. And the sites, actually both sites, also do all the necessary calculations and review your return when you're finished, at which point you pay the fee and e-file. That's it. You can even print your return if you like. Both TurboTax and H&R Block move through the tax preparation process similarly, in our view. So there are sections, especially at the beginning, where you basically answer a series of questions by entering data or clicking buttons on each page. And as you move into the actual preparation process, the sites divide their content into broad areas like income and deductions. So they actually present a list of all the topics included and use mini wizards to move through the Q&As. This is really good. And also both TurboTax and H&R Block follow the same general topic order. So we have personal information, income, deductions, and credits. You have taxes and other tax situations, and wrap up. But there's a lot of room for differences within each broader area. So their order of questioning varies, but both sites follow logical patterns. For example, H&R Block waits to ask a lot of preliminary questions until you get into the income section. TurboTax captures the same information in earlier pages. And neither sites make you wait too long, though H&R Block is faster overall in our view. And sometimes a page on this site will ask only one question on a series of pages and force you to click excessively. And other times, the sites put a lot of queries on the same page and require you to scroll quite a bit. And so both sites have some unwieldy pages. However, TurboTax advances you automatically when you answer a question on some pages, which saves times and clicks. All right. So H&R Block does not allow you to advance to future topics until you have finished with a previous page. That might hold you up if you really want to power through and come back later to provide missing details. So TurboTax does let you jump ahead and create flags with notes to remind you about the information you didn't have at the time. So that flexibility, in our view, is kind of nice, but working out of a sequence can be confusing, in our view. So who is the winner here? We have a tie. So TurboTax and H&R Block are both great, with their peculiarities, of course, when it comes to walkthroughs. So this is a tie. So when we talk about the level of comprehensiveness, all right, so which is more thorough? And what I want to do here is that I want to really understand. I want to explain the fact that when we talk about thorough, like when I really I want to elaborate on being thorough. So I want to talk about income and expenses. So how do you judge if a tax preparation software is thorough? Well, got to think about the income and expenses, investment sales, and cryptocurrencies in some cases. So when we talk about income and expenses, TurboTax digs deeper in some areas and allows you to document your personal and business income and expenses more thoroughly sometimes, especially in advanced topic areas. For example, once you tell TurboTax what kind of business you have, it really will suggest expense areas that are common to individuals in your profession and allows you to break categories down into individual expense types. So when you enter in office expenses on Schedule C, H&R Block just gives you one blank field for a total. TurboTax lets you add multiple lines so you can list the types of expenses that make up that total. And so this attention to detail is also found when you are entering deductions and credits. So we love that granularity. We love that granularity. So let me give you an example. When you are finished entering your home energy credits, TurboTax displays a link that says, "Did I get the full credit?" And that window that opens explains more about the credit, so you can be sure that you are claiming everything you can. What about investment expenses? Well, TurboTax is also better overall at recording investment sales, particularly stocks. So both sites allow you to import transactions from your broker or brokers. Both display actually a comprehensive fill-in-the-blank pages for each sale if you're entering them manually, which is a grueling process, especially if you have tens, if not thousands of sales throughout the year. But it's also best to import them if you possibly can. And it may also be possible to upload a PDF of your 1099B. So H&R Block supports entering stocks as groups, which can save you a lot of time. But TurboTax offers imports from more financial institutions. So TurboTax also provides exceptional guidance, better than H&R Blocks in our view, as it walks you through this complex process. What about taxes on cryptocurrency? I mean, TurboTax is better at reporting cryptocurrency too, though H&R Block has improved in that area since last year in our view. So TurboTax allows you to record sales, conversions, and exchanges, and any goods and services you purchased with cryptocurrency. You can import your information directly from 30 financial services, including Coinbase, BitTaxer, and Robinhood, or enter it manually. And H&R Block now allows you to report multiple cryptocurrency transactions without advancing to a new page or simply report totals attaching the Form 8949. So this is kind of cool. And the company has added the ability to import transactions from CoinTracker. So who is the winner here? Here we have another tie. So they both are detailed enough. Now let's talk about help resources. So which has better help resources when you actually compare and contrast those two players here? First of all, I want to say that when we talk about help resources, basically when it comes to on-screen help and explainers, you are able to get a lot of help, whether you go through H&R Block or TurboTax. And also you can get help via search. You also have help via chatbots in our view. So here, when it comes to that constellation of help features, it is a tie. Both software tools are great when it comes to helping you in that department. What about virtual supports? Which is better when it comes to virtual support? Well, here also we have a tie because TurboTax has great virtual supports, and so does H&R Block. Okay, so you're able to actually file your taxes through the help of someone you see in a video, not a problem at all. And so they both actually support that. So when we talk about the overall, so what is our verdict here? Which one should you choose? Both TurboTax and H&R Block are solid, user-friendly options for DIY tax filers who want to try filing on their own, but like the idea of being able to call in a professional when help is needed. Just keep in mind that additional levels of service will come at a higher price point. So if you're interested in unlimited on-demand tax help, you might be better off upgrading to TurboTax Live full service, getting help at a local H&R Block office, or working with a certified public accountant or an enrolled agent credentialed by the IRS. Okay, the bottom line here is what you really want to. It depends on the complexity of your tax return, but in terms of who is better, they are both great. I mean, they're both great. They are both. We've had more ties than actually more wins for either software. So we would say it really depends. It depends on what really matters to you. Now, H&R Block wins in the price category, that's for sure, which carries a lot of weight, considering that there is a huge potential audience for tax-paying gig workers who may not have major technology budgets. And so H&R Block also wins in the mobile category, and it's one of those things where you have to think what really matters to you. So at the end of the day, they both are, I would say quasi-ties. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I did a quick TurboTax versus H&R Block comparison. So let me quickly recap what we talked about. So I gave you the pros and cons, of course, and I walked you through the different sessions where we were able to compare and contrast those two players. And then I give you the verdict. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.